Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today's video is about pruning cucumber plants. Video that's going to follow this is really going to be about side dressing, putting granular fertilizer down on the bottom, mulching, and just talking about the root systems of cucumber plants, why you would want to mulch, and why top dressing or side dressing really works. So for pruning, before you start to prune, first thing you have to decide is, why do I need to prune? You may not have to. You also want to think about what you're growing. These are bush variety cucumbers, so they don't get as big as your standard variety, which I have on the other side. They tend to need more pruning because they'll continue to grow and grow. There are 5 plants in here, so I'm going to help you identify the main growing stem, which is basically the stem that starts from the ground, and then you would follow that main one all the way up, and that's the one that keeps growing. From that, you'll get side shoots that in the bush variety may be 2 feet, 3 feet long, like this. And you could prune that back. You'll hear a lot of people say for maximum production, prune. And maximum production is a healthy plant with lots of flowers, lots of leaves, and it does its thing. Pruning doesn't necessarily mean more. Might mean larger fruit, better disease management, but don't be fooled that you need to prune for maximum production. You need to have healthy plants with lots of female cucumber flowers. They get pollinated to produce cucumbers, and when we get in there you'll see lots of cucumbers that I need to harvest. So you're making some decisions. You don't really have to over prune the bush varieties like this, but it's a good example because these plants are starting to get large. So like I said, first thing you want to do is identify the main growing stem, and that was the big one here. You don't want to cut the main growing stem. You want that to continue to go and go and go, and you're going to be pruning the side shoots that come out, something like this. Now, if the plant has room to sprawl, let it sprawl. I like to prune out the bottom, so I'm going to remove these leaves. Typically I look for damaged leaves. I just pinch them off. I leave the stem. Some people don't like to do that. You could cut it back further. That's up to you. So I'm going to clear out the leaves under here, and you can see all the flowers, male and female, large cucumbers that need to get picked. Pick your plant often because you don't want the cucumbers that are on there to get oversized, begin to get mature seeds, because it sends a signal to the plant that, hey, I'm doing my thing, I've got mature cucumbers, I got mature seeds. There's some cukes right in there. I don't need to keep growing the greenery. That's what you want to do, is you want to keep harvesting so your plant keeps growing. While it's growing, you may have to manage for pests and disease. Now I took the leaves out in here, and when you're removing leaves, you're looking for diseased leaves. Leaves that aren't going to get sunshine, you don't really need in there. So I just pinch them out. And that's going to expose the bottom. That's okay. Sunlight's not going to harm the cucumbers. Once this gap is through here, it allows birds to look in, allows frogs to get in. They may eat problematic insects. Air circulation is there. You can identify where you might want to put dust down to manage cucumber beetles, but you get the idea. Like this leaf is beat up. They're just not doing much in there. So clear them out. You know, maybe 10 inches or a foot, something right along that space. The other thing is, as I'm looking through here, here's a nice long vine, and if I trace this back, it goes all the way up, right through there, all the way down, and it comes in to here. That's one of the main stems from the plant, and this one I don't want to prune. I'm just going to tuck this as gently as I can into here, and this is just broke off this cucumber. Let's remove it. Tuck this vine right into here. This is shelving rack from Home Depot. That allows the main stem to be trellised upward, continue growing. Okay, let me finish clearing this space out. At the end I'll harvest the cucumbers that are in here. So it does look harsh, but I'm opening up the space along here, and then I'm making some decisions. So here's a really long vine, and coming out of the ground is the main stem, and it really branches off this way and it works its way up there. Sometimes they'll split off This is a good size. If you'd like to keep it, you would just trellis it up, which I think I'm going to do. And you just, again, work it right into your trellis. That lifts up this whole space, and then you can make some decisions, like we don't really need this leaf in there. We start looking around and make some decisions about pruning some of the lateral vine growth. So if we take a look here, that's the main stem going all the way up the trellis, and then we have another vine coming out here. Now you could let this grow if you have room. You could end it by just topping it right here. Sometimes people do that. You want to look to see that there's some cucumbers on there, and that will just manage the size of the plant. It's not going to keep growing outward. Again, I'm working on a bush variety that doesn't need a lot of pruning, but the principles would hold true for your standard varieties that will be moving all over the place. Well, growing all over the place, hopefully. Now, the other thing that you could do is just pinch this all the way back, is which I want to do. You know, if you have some scissors, that's easier. Scissors give you a sharper cut. If you're smashing the stem, you're letting more basically fragrance, odor, smell out, which means certain predatory insects will smell that, they will find a cucumber plant and they will do their thing in there. Even if you cut them sharply, that scent still gets out. After I'm done all this, I spray this with peppermint oil to help mask the scent, but it's also a great irritant for aphids and spider mites and stuff like that. So I decided I wanted to remove that. I just didn't want that growth coming out here. I have another vine coming out of the main one. I'm just going to pinch that off and remove that. And you get the idea, as I'm just controlling the size. I'm going to let this one grow out over on the side. If this was not a bush variety, this vine would continue and I would put it right up that trellis. So you're just making decisions on how you want to manage the size of this plant. Now that I've cleared this out, I don't need the leaves down here. Here's another side shoot I don't want. Just remove it. And you get the idea. So I've cleared out the bottom. I do leave the leaf stems on there. You can cut them back. So after you get through here, you're looking to see what's going on. Again, the leaves down here, remove them. So I'm keeping one of the lateral vine growths going. Not sure where I'm going to send it. Maybe it'll just stay on the mulched area. But once you open it up, you want to look in there, and there's some decisions to make. Like here is a vine that's producing flowers and fruit. I'm just going to remove that because I don't need that one coming out there. Same with this one. Managing space, that's all I'm doing. So open this up. Again, I want to stress I'm doing this with the camera and my hand. Sharp scissors is best, shears, whatever you want to use. Just a nice clean cut. So let me pull these off. I like getting the cucumbers when they're a little bit smaller. One tip is you want to check them too, because this one has grown into the trellising, so I'm going to have to break that off. This leaf doesn't need to stay. It's not doing much in there. Same with this one. Let's remove that. Same with this one. And then I look again. Here's another. Notice, you know, how rough I'm being with these. Here's another vine growing. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why is he pruning the bush variety? Well, if I just had one plant in here, I wouldn't be taking off anything really but maybe the bottom leaves. But because I put 5 in here, I have more leeway to remove some of the side shoots, the side vines, just to manage the size. You can kind of pack your cucumber plants in there if you're gonna, you know, kind of prune and open them up. So plant looks pretty bald. Let me finish harvesting the cucumbers. So you're going to be tending to both sides of the trellis, and I've just moved a couple vines back through the trellis that way. You know, the plants are planted on the other side. I weave the vines this way, back over, and just kind of work your way up. So you're looking for the vines again. You could remove this, you could keep this. You can see 1, 2, 3 female flowers. Lots of male flowers. There's a 4th one. I'm going to keep this, and I will tuck it back into here once I remove some of the leaves. One point I want to stress is there is no real science to this. There's no exact way to prune. You don't have to prune. I'm just opening up. My goal is to open up this bottom space. Here's another beautiful cucumber. So it's producing nicely. So let me clean this up. This is what I like to call chaos pruning. You don't really know how you're going to need to prune until you really watch your plants grow. These are to the size that I've slowly been taking the bottom leaves out. So if it's a bush variety cucumber, your standard variety cucumber, I'm going to always remove the leaves out from the bottom like that. Let the air flow through, easier to manage pests and disease. Some minor vine pruning for your bush varieties just to manage the size, but everything gets pushed upward. Now that I lifted a lot of these vines, you see a lot of leaves are tangled up. Give them 24 hours, 48 hours to correct. They will right themselves and point to the sun, and once they do that, we would get in there and look for any leaves that are hidden under leaves, remove those. Any leaves that are smashed into the trellis, we would remove those. But this is the basic way that I prune. Last thing that I'm gonna do, and I sell this at my seed shop, is I'm gonna spray peppermint oil on the undersides of the leaves and on the vines and stems that I cut. Again, you can remove the entire leaf stem if you want, all the way back to the vine. I just never found it made much difference, and I don't want to risk damaging the main growing vines. There's a little friendly pollinator right in there. Oh, he flew away. This will open up the entire plant. I don't know, there's probably hundreds of flowers on here. Lots of male and female. This one looks like it's dying off because it didn't get pollinated fully. Lots of pollinators. It's nice to see the honeybees. So last step might be, you know, taking a peek in here, like here's a damaged leaf. Just pinch and remove that. This one probably doesn't need to be in there. Remove that one. So this is set up. This is how I kind of do my chaos pruning. It's been effective for years. Here's a leaf, looks a little bit beat up. Let's remove that. It's been effective for years. Perfection is not needed. Cucumber plants are pretty hardy. Now the key to this is once you've pruned, we hit it with the peppermint oil spray. In the next video, if you want to subscribe, I'm going to put down the granular fertilizer across the top, do a side dressing. Put some more mulch on top. I've been mulching with grass clippings. Mulching helps conserve water. The whole key to healthy cucumber plants really is consistent moisture. Thanks for watching. Hope this gives you some confidence that you don't need to be perfect when you prune. You can be chaotic. Just have a vision in mind. Remove the bottom leaves. Take away some of the vines that you don't need. Trellis upwards. Thanks for watching, and please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.